Nigerians' expectations fell short on 2023 polls. European Union slams Inec. The question for me is, and I really wonder how Nigerians will heal from this election. There's been a lot of complaints here and there, things that we've not witnessed before. We've started seeing them. So I don't know how Nigerians will feel, or whether this election has brought us together or the election has separated us the more. Because election, for me as a person, is supposed to be a unifying thing, unifying different tribes, unifying different people, unify us, even as a nation. No matter which party is contesting, whether at the national or the state level, we should all come together. After all, we are one. The European Union Election Observation Mission, E.U, has stated that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, failed to meet Nigerians' expectations regarding the conduct of Saturday's election for governor and state assembly. Well, as Nigerians, what is your own take? How did it go in your state? Where I was, it was peaceful, it went well, and at the end of the day, all the contestants, they have congratulated the winner. But I'm sure it's not the same in every part of this country. Maybe that is why EU is lending his voice to what happened around the country. Barry Andrews, the mission chief observer, said in a statement released in Abuja that the result of the elections in a number of states demonstrate that the electoral body failed to fulfill its responsibilities. According to him, the voter apathy observed on Saturday is evidence that the conduct of the February 25th presidential election by INEC disqualifies or dissatisfies Nigerians who had a strong desire for democracy and change. Well, for me, on that part, for the presidential election, I think most people were focused, more people were focused more on the presidential election than what happened in their state, in their status of assembly. And for me, that focus is totally wrong. Maybe because everyone believes that the power resides mostly with the president. Meanwhile, what happened in each of the states has a lot to do with what happened in the country. Some part of this country today, you cannot even say they have been run by a governor in the last 18 or 20 years. The same party in power, but you cannot point to anything meaningful that has impacted the life of the people. Today, some state capital roads are still not motorable. Today, there are things that you cannot even point to that this state has achieved or this person has achieved. So the focus was more on the presidential election, maybe because of the gladiators that were participating in the election. Most of them were so focused on the presidential election that they even forgot that there will be election in their state. Now, with the euphoria, with the noise, with all the things that happened around the presidential election, look at what happened at the state level. Most of the people that were shouting, particularly on the party, Labour Party especially, they were focused at the national level, at the state level. Most of the states, even where they performed very well, the gubernatorial election have shown that they were not focused, they were focused at the national level, which for me is not the best if we want to move our nation forward. Andrew stated that the governorship and the state assembly election were also disrupted by multiple incidents of thuggery, voter intimidation, and other electoral offenses, and that organized violence in certain regions of the country contributed to a climate of fear. Throughout the mission, we observed that Nigerians have a voracious appetite for democracy and are eager to participate in a variety of civic activities, he said. However, in numerous regions of the nation, their expectations were not met. Many were dissatisfied, and we witnessed voter apathy as a result in part of the failure of the political elite and regrettably Independent National Electoral Commission Positively, Independent National Electoral Commission introduced some corrective measures prior to the election on Saturday, allowing for timely delivery of sensitive materials and improved use of election technologies, but the institution remained opaque. EU observers observed that voting on 18th March generally began on time. Those are positive type. Yes, even where I voted, when there within 30 minutes I was done, with independent national electoral ad hoc officials present to serve voters. Multiple incidents of thuggery and intimidation of voters, polling officials, observers, and journalists disrupted voting on election day. Some states like Lagos, Kano, and other southern and central states were the hardest hit. There were a great number of casualties and fatalities. In addition to being directly observed by EU observers, vote buying hampered the proper conduct of election. When we talk of vote buying, there were security agencies in all these polling units. What were they doing? If European Union observer can see that they were vote buying, what were our security agencies doing? The electoral that gave the power to arrest people buying or selling even their vote. But what have we seen? From all the incidents that we have recorded, I don't think there's anybody that will have been arrested for vote buying or even vote selling. We will get there. He added the clear on the representation of women as candidates demonstrated a glaring absence of internal party policies to support constitutionally mandated inclusion, which is also contrary to Nigeria's international commitment to eliminate discrimination against women. It's not about discrimination for me. How many of them are even members of political parties? If you are not within any political parties, how are you going to be known? How are you going to be recommended? How are you going to be nominated for elective position? Until you show face, until you participate. Yes, there's this affirmative that they have done, that they have agreed, but how many of them are there? And it is only the major political parties that you will see women participating. Once the other parties are there and there are no women in those parties, or they are not even, they are very few, how will they be able to compete with the men among them? And so it is for the women to come out, join politics, participate in it. There is nothing evil in it. Come out, participate, and show your strength. There are even more. When you look at the voters, women come out more to vote. And for me, until they begin to participate fully, they may continue to be backward. What is your take on this? Kindly make it known. EU have made the observation, no, and were they right in these observations? Please kindly make your own comment too.